What's going on? Happy Thursday.
What's up, everybody?
Happy Thursday to everybody.
Yeah, we're back after a little hiatus.
We actually have.
Yeah.
What happened last week?
Turkey Day.
You mean to tell me Thanksgiving was just last week? Why I feel like it was so long ago?
And because, I don't know, that's a good question, man. It does feel like it was a little bit ago.
Yeah, it's like, I think because so many things have been happening within this week, I'm like, I feel like I'm kind of losing it a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Nah, it's been quite a time. But yeah, it was nice though. We missed y'all, but it was nice though to, like, man, it's Thursday. But it's no show today. So, but we back. Don't worry, we back.
Like no show today.
Y'all can't get rid of us for that long.
Yep. So with that, man, how was your week?
So my week, bro, has actually been pretty relaxing. Had some stuff that has been kind of worrying me, but been for the most part relaxing. I know I told you, and I've told some other folks that since November I just started my winter hiatus. So I have really withdrawn as far as from doing a lot and going a lot of places, and I'm taking this time to recharge my batteries. So I've been really just staying low to the ground and just been chilling, man. So outside of work, the gym, and really congregating with you and the rest of my family, man, I've just been chilling. So it's been a pretty okay week outside of some small things. How about yourself, bro?
Bro, yeah, it's been a lot, man. This week has really been rough for me for several different reasons.
Sorry to hear that.
The fireplace isn't working.
Oh, yeah.
And it's cold. Not real cold, but it's cold. And then the furnace just went out. So we got to figure out, but luckily we already have heaters upstairs. So I'm not too worried about that, but it's just the fact that that's money that I got to kick out of. Every time it's time to spend money, you think about all the people who owe you money.
Tell me about it, bro.
And you're like, I want all the people who owe me money
to pay up.
To not only pay up, but can you do that stuff like pronto, immediately, expeditiously? I just need I don't understand why people, they know they owe you, why they just won't do the right thing. The urgency in which they ask for is not the urgency in which they return it sometimes, and that's really infuriating. It's extremely infuriating on so many different levels. We will have a special guest on tonight because we both had, we'll talk about it later. So we both had another way to deal with self-care, self-maintenance, and things like that. So I'm actually very excited to have that conversation. I can't wait. But we do have some people on. Let me see. Michelle is on. What's going on?
Michelle.
And then Tashia is on.
Hey, Tashia.
Oh, and I forgot to tell you, we did start the Levels of Parable class. So I'm so excited. We got a new cohort.
Okay.
And I can't wait to graduation and all of those great things. So we got people starting. Michelle talking about, I know that's right, run me my money. Yes, run me.
Yeah.
Run me my money.
Run me my bread.
Hurry up. And it's like, pronto. Look, Brian, what's up, Brian? He talking about pay up with interest.
Yeah, Stevie J.
I straight forgot what I'm supposed to be doing. What were we talking about?
Well, we were talking about we're going to have a special guest, and then I guess we were going to maybe get into one or two of the topics. I think that's where we were going. He also talked about the money pit that is a house.
Right, and it's like, it's a catch-22 because our first home was a brand new home. So we're like, with this one, we want to get one more established. And we're like, it's a catch-22.
Yeah.
It's pros to having a new home, just like it's pros to having an older home. And either way, it's like nerve-wracking on so many different levels.
Yeah.
So while we're waiting on some people to get on, I'm going to go ahead and start tagging some people because I don't even know. And then Facebook tripping.
Well, every time they update something, they break something, and that is real technology. Every time you update something, bring out something new, you break something. So that's just how it goes. They'll probably fix it in another 2 or 3 weeks, and they'll break something else, like they always do.
Look, and you know what the sad part is? Now that I work in technology, it's like that is like the nature of the beast for real. You're like, really? Are you kidding me?
And you know exactly what I'm talking about.
So, how was your Thanksgiving though? Do you family celebrate Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I call it Turkey Day just because for me it's just a day to be with the family and stuff. It was a small group of us this time around, so it's only about 6 of us. Me, my Uncle Marcus, my mom, my grandmother, my sister, and then my nephew. You know, of course. So it wasn't that many, and it was nice and quiet.
Okay. Look, I'm sorry. It was April. She called. You can park anywhere. We'll open the door. I'm gonna go ahead and open the door for her, I guess.
So Thanksgiving for me this year, or Turkey Day, as I say, if I can call it, was pretty good. It was just quiet, quaint, and that's really how I prefer to have it. I don't like to do a lot of hoopla and stuff. I mean, I'm a holiday person, but not really, if that makes sense. You know, I just like to just be around my family and to just eat good food, especially sweets, especially pound cake. That's the only sweet that matters. And if anybody trusts anything different, they're just really kind of doing you wrong, because pound cake is the best. But
he like dry pound cake. Tell him the truth.
Wait a second now.
It be dry.
Wait, what? See, you know what? That's how I know he hasn't had good pound cake, because pound cake, good cake, is never dry.
Lies. You don't like no icing. You like cornbread.
I don't mind.
You like Jiffy Mix. That's what it is.
I don't mind glaze.
Jiffy
I
Mix.
prefer not to have icing, but I'll take some glaze. I'll even take some icing as long as cake, but I prefer none.
You prefer Jiffy Mix?
No. It's cake. That's what it is. It's cake. So, you know, I let this brother right here steer you in the wrong direction. Pound cake is sent from the heavens, and I just don't know why you want to ruin that.
I don't understand why you sitting here lying to these people like you actually like sweets and like you like pound cake, because you really don't like pound cake.
I do, though.
You like Jiffy Mix. Come on in.
One of us is lying to the people, and it's the bigger one of us, okay?
Oh, and then you fat jokes.
No, I'm saying bigger as in taller.
Fat jokes.
Nope, bigger as in taller.
My own calling me.
Why are you doing that?
I'm trying to figure out. In front of all the people, you don't call me fat.
Nope.
I knew I was fat. I'm trying to change my life.
So we go off for a week. We miss a show. You come back acting like this.
I don't know what it's got into
you. You're assaulting my culinary tastes.
First of all, didn't y'all hear him call me fat? He said the bigger one.
Are you not bigger than me?
Oh, he did it twice.
What?
See? And then if I come with the angry short jokes, I'm gonna be the wrong one.
You do it all the time anyway.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
That's not what I do to get you mad.
It's a bunch of things. So
you know what? You can't celebrate Thanksgiving anymore. Look, guys, our special guest is here. Ding 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 ding. Look, see, guys, did it? See, they laughing. You did? See, petty. Natalia, love you.
That's how I know you like him more than you like me, because you wouldn't say that if you were right here with us right now.
Yes, she would, because she is truthful.
Nah, no, I don't believe it.
Because you like cornbread.
I'm like Mbaku. We will not have it. We will not have
it. Is this your king? Let me see. Okay. See, Jiffy Mix, Cordell. That's really what it is.
No, you know why? Because Natalia that's okay, Natalia. We just have to talk to each other more. It's as clear right now that you like Jay more than me. That's okay, though.
No, it's just that you've been tripping.
No.
Because you come in here with your little dry cake and get mad. He like dry cake. Okay. He don't like cake with no icing on it. Not even pound cake.
I said I prefer cake with no icing. I will eat the cake if it has icing on it.
No, you won't. You one of the people that scrape it off.
No.
You like unmoist cake.
No, I definitely do not. I feel like we need a glove, and then we need pistol. You are assaulting my honor. I don't appreciate that.
It did. I ain't seen my boy in a week, and then the very first thing come out of his mouth is the bigger one. At least I got a haircut. Look at that. Look at that. Bam. 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 Love you, bro.
Love you too.
Okay, the real reason, let's get back on track though. And look, Coach Billy say balance our chakras. Yeah. What the chakras say?
Penny chakra. Which one is that? Penny chakra.
That's a unique one. That's the one that just came. When you really balance, you can perfect your petty.
That is not true.
Well, I don't know. I'm not a chakrologist.
Clearly.
Chakrolist?
None of them.
Oh. So, for the people that's the first time, and you didn't watch our show, shame on you, when she was on before with the lovely Tara L. Henry, owner, operator of Authors in Art Studio. Well, this is your another opportunity. Just go back and watch the old video. But then you can learn a lot about this young lady. Young lady, tell the beautiful people who you are.
Hi, everyone. I am April Lamar. I am a professional belly dancer and a Reiki master. And we are going to talk a lot about Reiki today. Reiki is a healing modality that heals and balances your chakras. And we're going to talk about what chakras are and talk about Reiki session experiences and have a good old time.
Okay.
And no dry cake. We're definitely not talking about.
Yeah, we don't want that.
The chakra says no to the dry cake.
We don't want that anyway.
So I will say this, though. I had an opportunity along with three other individuals to experience the chair Reiki.
It was Reiki in a chair. It was an assessment of his chakras to prepare him for his Reiki session.
And she said I'm crazy.
Did not say he was crazy. That's not usually what you get when you...
Okay. That's what I took about it. I'm sorry.
Right.
Shut up. But one of the things that I can honestly say about when I got, because a lot of you guys always ask, like, what do we do for like self-maintenance, self-care, and things like that? And we're actually open to experiencing new things, but we also are open to people who are passionate about things. And one of the things the very first time that I met April, we actually talked in the parking lot for like an hour, 2 hours on the back of the car, because I've heard so many great things about her. But then I had the opportunity to really experience her, and like, she has a plethora of knowledge. So if you don't know who she is, I guarantee you won't have a boring conversation. You know Natalia, don't you? You know Natalia? Natalia, you will love her. You will have full-on conversations forever about it. And so one of the things that I like more than anything, I do want to talk about, what is it called? The belly dance portion.
Soulful belly dance.
Soulful belly dance. And one of the things that I love about it is it boosts self-esteem. It boosts positive body image. And it's a positive outlet for not only women, but also men, because you want to tell them a little bit of history about it and how men and women and what it's really called. We call it belly dancing. Tell them the history. You take it over.
Sure, why not?
Like, here you go.
So yes, I love to belly dance, and the history of belly dance is that it actually came from North Africa. A lot of people say, oh, it came from the Middle East, but Africa is in the Middle East. Egypt is in the Middle East, and I have no idea where the camera is. I'm just like,
oh, just look. Yeah. Just look forward. Look forward. It'll take care of itself.
I recently went to Egypt, and I met male belly dancers, Nubian brothers who were dancing with very, similar music that I dance to here in the States. It is a part of their culture. It is part of our culture, our history. So brothers do belly dance, sisters do belly dance, and I really want to get that message out there to our people and all people that it did in fact come from Africa.
You got some people that are telling you, hey, by the way, too. I don't want to skip over what you were saying, but you have some people.
Everybody.
My wife said, hey. Tashia said hello, and then you got James Hall on here, my fellow Eye Contact alumni.
Oh wow, James.
Yeah, James and I used to work together.
Oh, that's cool.
And then
small world.
And then Coach Billy said, energy healing is good. Jay, did you enjoy your session? Yes. I got so many things I want to say about that. And if I actually experienced the assessment, and Cordell actually experienced the full thing. Yeah, I'm kind of jealous about that though. which goes into why my week was so hectic. I had a lot of things going on this week, and we just couldn't get the time in, but I wanted to. But I can speak about the chair assessment. For me, I'm very intuitive already, and some people call it energy, some people call it discernment, whatever you want to call it. I actually, I don't like to do a lot of touching because I am an empath. And so I'm very careful about that. And one of the very first things that I noticed when she performed this session, like at first, it was like my hair was standing up on the back of my neck. And then I felt this heat. I couldn't explain what this heat was. And then it felt like you removed like my protection. It was like I started feeling everybody's emotions and I wasn't sure which one was mine at that moment. And then as we went through it, it put me in a more, I want to say intoxicated state, if that's not the right word, but I knew that it felt like I was on some type of high. And I was there for a minute and it was like, whoa. And then we went into a conversation. I was like, whoa, hold on. It felt like everything was happening fast and I was moving slow, but I probably wasn't moving slow, but that's just what it felt like. And for me, I was like, if that's the introduction, I do wonder what the full experience is like.
Right. So let me first say that everybody has different reactions. Some people get very emotional. Some people go to sleep. It's a very relaxing thing, and you want to be. It's usually done alone. You know, you can have group sessions with Reiki, everybody getting Reiki and everything like that. But if it's your first time, I definitely recommend you getting it by yourself. We also did a breathing technique before we did the assessment.
We sure did.
So I think that's more what opened Jay up than the actual Reiki assessment. It doesn't usually do that to people. So, but
what is it
definitely a fun time. Nothing really. I mean, they do feel the heat. The heat actually comes from my hands because it is energy. I don't touch you. It's not a touching modality.
She doesn't touch.
Yeah, it's just all energy coming from my hands.
So hold on. First of all, look, James having a whole conversation with everybody on there. He talking to Kim now, but Kim said hello, guys. Hey, Kim.
Hey.
Okay, Cordell, you want to tell about your experience?
Well, so when I had my Reiki session, now beforehand, I didn't really know, aside from the preliminary talks about chakras that we had on the last Brother Empowerment, actually, when you and Tara, we did an authors and art. That was the only time I really had any knowledge about Reiki. So I went into it completely no expectations, no nothing. And so I was thoroughly intrigued by the results because Reiki Master April, as I will call her, she pinpointed exactly some emotions and stuff that I had, or some thoughts that I had as a result of some of my chakra assessments. So if if I remember correctly, my strongest chakras were, correct me if I'm wrong, my root chakra and my solar plex chakra.
So it's your crown.
Crown, sorry.
Yep,
crown.
your crown chakra
Sorry.
and your solar plexus.
Yes.
Chakra.
So excuse me. Yes. So my crown.
They were overactive.
Overactive. And my one chakra that was off balance was the root chakra.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
It was
What's the root chakra?
Underactive. Your root chakra deals with like your survival, so your finances, food, shelter, clothing, kind of thing.
We might share that together, bro.
Man.
Because it seemed like stuff. Well, for you, like, because you got me thinking about a lot of things. For you, because you have gotten into Reiki, how do you introduce it to those who have like strong religious convictions?
It's very difficult at times because it's not based. It's not based in any religion. It is a healing modality, just like acupuncture or massage, things like that. But because you're dealing with energy, and Reiki itself is dealing with universal life force energy. So the Rei part is the universal. The Ki is like your Chi. So people have issues with that sometimes, and they think it's rooted in maybe Buddhism or
witchcraft, sorcery.
Sometimes I get that. Sometimes I get that on the witch, but you know, it is all for healing.
Somebody actually called you a witch before?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That hurt my feelings. It really did. So I really want to ask you some questions because I really want to know what the chakras say. We got some topics.
Okay.
And then I want you to tell us what chakras say.
Okay.
I just created this whole new thing.
Well, first let me tell the good people what chakras.
Okay, tell them.
What the 7 main chakras are. So we have our root chakra that deals with our survival, as we just talked
Where's
about.
it in your body?
It is at the base of your spine, actually. So you sit on your root chakra every day. Your next one is your sacral chakra, and that deals with your creativity, your passion. That is in your genital area. Again, remember, all of us have chakras, so male genitalia, female genitalia. That's where it's at. Your solar plexus deals with your self-identity, your power, speaking your truth, and that is in this area. Then you move up to your heart chakra, which deals with love, all types of love, unconditional love, loving yourself, how you love others. Your throat chakra is how you communicate with people, and so much more to it. All of the chakras have a lot more information, but I'm just giving you a nice little overview. Then your third eye is your spiritual center. It's looking within, and you know, that's important. And then your crown chakra is your overall consciousness, your connection to the universe, whatever higher power you believe in. It is your connection to the divine.
You got one who said, Nichelle said she actually would like to try it. Nichelle, I will put her contact information in the comments, so that way you can reach out to her and schedule your own consultation. Is that what you prefer for them to do?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do prefer for people to do that. And I'm also offering a special right now, which is kind of unheard of. It is $25 for an hour-long Reiki session. So
$25 for an hour?
Yes.
That's what I did.
Yep.
Man.
Yep. And it's usually anywhere from $40 to $70 an hour. So I'm just really want to get this healing and balancing out to people, and I'm offering that till the end of the year.
Coach Billy C said, I'm not sure which part, I guess it was when she was talking about blockage. Is it because most people are extremely skeptical?
Yes, people are skeptical.
She also said, right, but people will allow folks to lay hands on them and transfer all types of weird energy. Shaking my head. So she was saying they will call this something weird, but at the same time, it is very similar to the laying on the hands, because it's a transfer of energy in hopes to cleanse.
Yeah.
Or some people will call it the spirit. I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. What we're talking about is the similarity in what is taking place. And then she say, "Oh, that specialist right up her alley." So we'll make sure. Oh, and my wife says she needs a session as well.
Awesome.
So one of the questions was asked, like, dishonesty about singleness. Why lie about it and remove someone's decision choice? Meaning, give that person the opportunity to know if they want to be a side chick or a side dude or whatever. So why do you think people lie about their status?
Oh, that's an easy question. Because they're selfish. That's why they do it.
What chakra is that not needs to be realized?
Maybe all of them, because when you're off balance, but it could be, you know, something that they dealt with in their past that would make them want to deceive another person. But they're not being honest because they don't want the person to have a choice. They want to have control over the situation, and if they lie about it or omit the truth, then it's something that they don't have to deal with.
Do you think people don't know how to say in a nice way, I am exploring my options? Meaning, I'm not being selfish. Like, I do have somebody, they all right, they're not bad, but they're not great. And I'm not 100% sure if I want to spend the rest of my life with them. So I want to see what other fish are out there in the sea. So is that necessarily, like, how would you say that? Cordell, you single?
Well, I mean, I think the main thing is that, well, how would I say that? Well, first,
I was saying, like, do you think that that's like a true issue for people? Like, they don't mean to be misleading, but they don't know another way to say, I'm exploring my options, or in the words of Coming to America, so they're royal open.
I feel like people are more open nowadays. Though.
Well, I do think that the conversations are being had more now, so people are open. I really think it really comes down to when we talk about singleness. It's really, are you committed or are you not? Because if you're not committed and you're out here dating, then you really are exploring your options. So it should be ideally, in my opinion, it should be easier to say that because you are literally that's what you're doing. You are exploring options. I think one of the problems comes in, like you said before, it's like, well, I have somebody, which means you're committed. I have
well, they committed to
right,
you.
Exactly. or somebody's committed and somebody don't know, or both of you committed. It's one of them, 2 or 3. So
right.
I think that the problem comes in is when someone or both parties are committed and the person doesn't. They want to either explore options or they want to, like April said, control the situation to their liking, and they don't want to give that person, because really you want to control the situation because you're afraid of not to get what you want. That's really what controlling the situation comes down to.
I was thinking either that or I do know this. Some people try to avoid hurting people's feelings
right.
and end up hurting them more.
Right.
Like, I'm in a relationship with you, but I really don't want to be in a relationship with you, but you're a nice person. So I don't want to hurt your feelings, so I'm not going to tell you I'm out here seeing other people.
I don't want to hurt your feelings, so I'm going to hurt them anyway.
If you find out. If you don't find out, your feelings won't be hurt. But, some people do have that. And I'm not saying it's right. I definitely want to say that. But I've had conversations with people when they were like, I didn't want to hurt her feelings. She was a sweet girl.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not right. But then when you start thinking, well, is it really selfish? It's not really selfish either. It's just really poor choices.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the saying that hurt people hurt people.
Uh-huh.
So that person is hurt. They're going to hurt somebody else because they're not being honest. And it's just going to be a spiraling effect of hurt people.
Yeah. Right. And I just think that Wade was saying.
Right. Selfish.
I think April, I think she definitely hit it around the head. It's just people want to control the situation so that the likelihood of them getting what they want in a situation is higher. The percentage is higher. And that's really where the dishonesty, that's really what it's about, in my opinion. That's really what it's mostly about.
But if we are fair, there are several people who aren't in relationships that they don't want to be in.
That is correct.
I'm not even talking about just single. We're just married people who are married to people that they really don't want to be in a relationship with. And then there are several different things that come into play.
Yeah.
Social norms, religious beliefs, respect, financial. There we go.
Yeah.
So it's so many different things that go into that as I start to think about it, I don't know if every situation that happens like that is selfish or ignorant.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't know what to call that.
I just think that in all those situations, honesty and transparency should be at the forefront, so that people can make an informed decision, because there are some folks out there who are okay with that. They're like, okay, hey, look, you married or you don't like what you want, that's fine. That's low maintenance for me. Sign me up.
But do you think people really know how to be honest?
I think some people, no, they don't.
What chakra is that?
What, dishonesty?
Or that'll help them be honest.
Be more honest, speaking their truth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking their truth is their solar plexus, but also just good communication is your throat chakra. So if you don't know how to speak to people, you might have a blockage in your throat chakra.
Your throat chakra is blocked. That's what the chakra says.
So say it with your chest and get your throat right. That's what we're saying.
Say it with your esophagus. Let me see who we got on. We got Roger on. What's going on, brother?
What's up, Roderick?
We got Danielle Green on. Oh, we ain't seen my boy Greg in a long time. What's going on, Greg? And then Sean said that's a good way to go about it, so long as you're honest with the person you're currently dealing with.
Yep. What's up, Sean? What's up, man?
Charles Walker is on.
What's up, Chuck?
Nichelle said, folks just gotta be honest.
Yeah, it's really just gotta be honest.
Tara is on. Hey, Tara.
Hey, Tara.
And then Anthony is on.
What's up, man?
And then Coach said, but they end up hurting them anyway.
Exactly. And we talk about this quite a bit on Brother Empowerment, and for folks who haven't heard us say this before, intent when weighed against outcome, is like a feather versus an anvil. No one cares about your intent when we're talking about the outcome, because you could attend all day. Your intentions can be great and all that, because as the saying goes, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
When you look at the outcome, what happened? You can say, I didn't mean to hurt her, I did do this, but if you scraped up her feelings and threw them under the bus, it doesn't matter what you intended to do.
Yeah. Roderick said you're getting buff.
Oh, appreciate that, bro.
Sidebar, who cares? But the reason why I say a lot about honesty, because the same people who will stream honesty also are the same people who operate in the omission of truth.
Yep.
And that's technically being dishonest.
It's a lie.
And when I'm talking about being dishonest, a lot of times it's hard for a person to be honest with other people because they haven't been honest with themselves yet.
Correct.
And haven't really sat down and synthesized your own feelings, your own emotions about what do I really want. And we talk about societal norms, but we don't talk about societal pressures. Yep. And so sometimes people feel obligated to be in certain relationships to appear to have a certain status. Yep. And sometimes people do things that they don't want to do.
I agree. I mean, we have folks out here getting in relationships, and because the norm is and the pressure is, if you're not in a relationship, you're lonely. If you're single, you're lonely. If you're single, something's wrong, especially after a certain age.
Man, who you telling? Yeah. Because me and my wife got married, I was 28 when we got married. But I know growing up in Augusta, if you weren't married by the time you 25, something was wrong.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, like, man, there was like either you gay, you can't have kids, or something wrong, like you're crazy or something. It was like, and the sad part is my mom, like we didn't have my daughter until she's 29, but all my mom's kids, none of us had children until we were like 30 or 30-ish or 30.
Yeah.
And so we had family members that used to ask our mom, like, is everything okay with your boys?
Yeah. I mean, I've had folks literally, I'm 33 and I'm single. I don't have any kids, never been married. And I have had people, and mostly when I moved out here, who asked me, what's wrong? Like, literally, like I'm a broken toy. Are you okay? Like, is there something wrong? Like,
you got a baby mama?
Yeah, like what's going on with you? Are you literally, are you okay? Like, I'm sick. Like, I'm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's really a thing. And you're exactly right. You're exactly right. It's societal norm. It's societal pressure. I love that term, by the way.
Thank you. I just made it up.
I know.
I will make up a word in a minute. That's what my chakras say. The throat one. And the funny thing is, could y'all believe it? When she did my assessment, that was one of the things that she said I had blockage in. And the interesting, it opened up a great conversation with me and my brother, because we talked about some things that I was holding back. And we had a whole conversation with it. And I was like, that's why this throat was messed up, because of you. Yeah, you. No, I'm joking. But no, it really did. Seriously, we had a whole conversation about some things that we needed to discuss. And I was like, okay, now it all makes sense. So let's go to the next one. How do you explain to someone why you're not interested in pursuing a relationship with them because they don't have the same drive as you? You want to take a stab at that one? I'm interested in what the chakra says.
Well, I took a stab at the first one first. I feel like.
You're a special guest.
Well, is that how it happens?
Yep.
I just want to let you know, he's savage. He don't care. He will throw anybody under the bus quick.
Whoa.
Yes, you will. You the guest. Take it.
See, I'm really a blunt person, so I would say it just like that. Like, if you don't have the same drives I do, it's gonna lead to problems, because I'm on the go. I'm about my business. I, make time for the things I need to make time for. And if you're not on that same frequency, not on that same vibe, it's not gonna work out.
So do you just prefer to be like, you know what, I don't want to be with nobody? Like, do you just accept, like, I may not find a pairing for me, or does it make it more of a competition to find someone? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but no, I didn't really see that question like that.
No, I was based off of what you were saying.
What I said.
I was like,
no.
Because
I believe everything happens in divine timing. I am single. I don't have kids. No one would say. Well, no one that I know looks at me like I'm a broken toy. So,
Are you from the South?
I believe I am not from the South. I'm actually from North New Jersey. So
See?
Jersey in the house. But
You know, I like everybody from Jersey. I don't know why. I just love everybody from Jersey. I don't know why.
And yeah, so I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm very honest with people. I mean, if we're dating or whatever, and we don't have the same, life views, then where's that going to take us? Yeah. We might end up being good friends, but a relationship, I mean,
I guess I will be careful when we talk about the same drive as you, because having the same drive as you can sometimes be destructive. In a sense of, let me give you an example. I'm more outgoing and more driven when it comes to love is a parable outreach. If my wife was the same way as it is with outreach, with love is a parable, who would take care of the kids? The partnership would be off. Like, we literally live by a calendar. And if she just out there like grinding the same way that I'm grinding, it will be a conflict. Something will be neglected in the house, whereas her grind is different. And I'm not saying my wife is always in the house, but there are certain things that she goes to that I don't go to because she has a passion for those things, and they may not be my passion.
See, the difference is, not to cut you off, but you're already in the relationship. You already have your balance and your calendar and your kids, where this person is just entering into the idea of a relationship with a person and wants to see where their drive is.
No, that's why I was saying be careful with saying the same drive, because you might think that you want it going into that relationship, and then you find out in the relationship like this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes opposites do attract very well. And then sometimes the same attract very well. Because interesting enough, me and my wife are both Scorpios. I know some of you may not believe in astrology, but me and my wife are both Scorpios. And according to astrology, that's either all good or all bad. But hey, 12 years together, we're making it work.
Yeah, let's go.
So I would just say, just be careful when you say same drive. And if you're talking about, are you talking about achieving goals? Meaning, are they goal oriented? Or do you want them out there just doing things because you're doing things like, oh, I'm a social butterfly, I need somebody who's a social butterfly? Kind of figure out what that drive is that you're talking about and make sure you really want the exact same thing.
Yeah, that was going to be where I was going to go with it. Whereas, what drive are we talking about? We talk about in a professional capacity or in a general attacking life capacity. And even still, if we're talking, we say the same, do we mean on the same level or exactly the same degree? And so that would be, but to answer the question, to how would one explain it? I think it would just be just to say it, because to hold it in is to invite resentment into the possible relationship later on down the line. But I think definitely the saying the same drive, I think it merits some really investigation first. Like what kind of drive we're talking about, what level, because I think I wouldn't want someone necessarily who had the same. They wouldn't have to have the same necessarily professional drive as me, but attacking life and becoming your best self, that would be important to me. So if they're not kind of close to me in that regard, that would give me pause.
Right.
So,
and I wouldn't even I'm not sure if I would call that drive. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wanting a better quality out of life and seeing yourself. When I think about drive, it seems like it's always chasing something.
Yeah. Yep.
Or going after something that's a little bit different. So I don't know, because I just found out today, like we did a DISC assessment with the company that I work for, and all of my managers are polar opposites of me, based off of personality, but we get along so well.
Yeah.
And when we talk about it, like the personality should be in conflict though, but for some strange reason we don't. And then I think about it, even when I like customer service, I don't go to people who have my personality. I find myself drawn to people who are different than me. And so that's why, like, if you find yourself, like, think about What type of customer service do you like?
Yeah.
Who are the employees that you work with? Think about the things that you attract before you get out there saying, this is what I want in a relationship. Because sometimes you just may not be you may not be compatible with that.
Yeah.
It just may be a desire or a goal, but it may not be what's best for you.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see what somebody have to say. What do they mean by drive? See, they said it. Oh, she said, get out. I'm sorry. Why send unsolicited penis pics like they're a calling card? You have no choice but to answer this.
I don't see it. Why don't y'all answer that?
Well, what I can say is I'm not sure why, especially in 2019, soon to be 2020. I don't understand why brothers are out there sending unsolicited pictures of themselves to women. I really don't. I'm not a fan of doing that really at all. Maybe if you're married, I guess. But I don't know why brothers do that. I think it's really just. I think it's really just disgusting. And I really do also think that it's for me personally, I think it's a sign of lack of self-worth for me. It's like you're sending pictures of yourself to women that you don't even know if they like you or not. You're not committed to them, none of that, but you're sending pictures hoping that somebody says something favorable. So I really think it's a sign of lack of self-worth or self-esteem, and I just really think it's disgusting. As to why brothers do it, they do it because they're hoping to elicit some kind of favorable response. That's really all. I mean, and one thing I can't say about us as men, especially when it comes to interactions with women, we do what has worked before. It don't matter if it's only worked once. It don't matter if it's worked 20 times. We repeat actions that have gotten us the results that we want. That's really what it goes down. So if a guy is out there doing that, that means that at least one time out of the 100 or possible 1,000 times he's done it, he's gotten the response that he's wanted. So he's going to do it again. Unfortunately.
Well,
that is unfortunate.
I actually agree with that, and I think that a lot of things can go into that. One, I do believe that because it was a successful outcome for him before. For two, I think that some people, if we really talk about it, the stigma for men is that we are tools. Mm-hmm. We are tools that we're known to provide. We're not known to have emotion. So part of it is expected to be this sex drive maniac, but we don't talk about that part. We talk about, oh, we want a manly man, but that usually is built with aggression and a high sex drive. So some people may feel like I'm fitting the norm. Mm-hmm. And I feel like sometimes we talk about things that we don't want, but we don't talk about the cultures that we create. Right. And I can say as a man, if we go back to the fact that you're a single man and don't have kids, the expectation is you should have at least one kid and you're 30. Mm-hmm. You know, I remember being, when I first got married, a lady asked me, how many kids do you have? And I said 2. Oh, how many are by your wife? 2. Mm. Because the norm is that it is a lot of blended families, but the sad part is now certain things are an expectation. Mm-hmm. So it's an expectation that men don't know how to communicate. Yeah. It's an expectation that men are high sex drive. It's an expectation that men are dogs. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these men are sometimes giving in to the narrative. Yeah. And we don't know how much of that is really pressure, mm-hmm. or desire, yeah. or influence. Yeah. So those are things I sometimes think about, and I don't think a lot of it is just black and white, if that makes sense. No, I
mean, you bring up some points that are not often talked about. Again, societal pressure. I mean, that's an underlying theme in quite a few of the actions I think that men undertake in the dating world. I think it is, especially depending on where you live. We live in the Bible Belt. So there are certain pressures that men fall under that are just there. And it's been there probably since they were young. I mean, I know quite a few brothers whose dad has told them, you're single, you got to have 4 girlfriends. If you don't have a bunch of women that you're dealing with, something's wrong. You know, you're not trying hard enough. Stuff like that.
Matter of fact, it's so funny. I remember one of my friends, we're still friends to this day. His dad was so old school. He was like, you shouldn't talk to no dude on the phone more than 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And his daddy literally like, we could be studying, we could be talking about something like real serious. And his dad be like, okay, you still talking to that dude? It's 10 minutes. And he used to have to get off the phone. And so it's so many different things that people don't realize they get into.
Yep.
And we don't realize what that product will be. Sometimes that product may be aggression. Sometimes that product may be promiscuity. We don't know what it is. Sometimes it may be depression.
Yeah.
Sometimes it may be low self-esteem, and it's because we have put people in these incubators of expectation, telling them to be one thing, but then challenge them to be another. But if they try to be that other thing, you tell them they're wrong for trying to be something better.
Yep.
So a lot of that we do have to talk about that we don't talk about.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
And somebody was laughing on the screen.
Oh Lord. Let me see. Wow, that's sad. About the low expectations. And then Cordell on not being a baby daddy. This makes me smile.
Yeah, I don't want that for myself. So
congratulations on not being a baby daddy. Congratulations on not being a baby mama.
Thank you very much.
Just sad that we got to even say that. Okay. So let's see. We got time for one more probably. Well, this one, we probably got time for two more. The human trafficking. What are we doing to protect children from predators? If you see something that doesn't look right, don't you turn a blind eye? Or how do you address the situation? Do you turn a blind eye, or how do you address the situation?
I think we talked about this one probably not the last one, but the one before that. And we were brother Jay, you were talking about how we should, instead of saying it's not my business or want to just go the other way, that we should be more of a community and look out for each other or for other people. And so we also talked about self-defense for everybody, and being more aware and things of that nature. But that's what I would say.
What does the shopper say?
This is Shaka saying, you definitely should be more aware. Like, you should pay attention to your surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that these videos are going around now and everybody's telling people to be more aware and what to look out for. Could it cause a little mass hysteria though? That is another issue as well, because not every white van is trying to grab you.
Mm-hmm.
But it is also good to pay attention to all the white vans, just in case. It doesn't hurt to pay attention.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, the white vans, they have been scary all of my life.
Yeah.
Or the vans that used to have the little, remember the little blinds?
Yeah.
The little velvet blinds that go up and down, and it was like scary with,
all blacked out trucks and stuff like that.
Yeah, or trucks with the padlocks on the outside and things like that.
The ones that scare me is the ones with the air conditioning unit, because I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is, one of our collaborators, Kerwin Pittman, did a whole video on human trafficking. And if you don't know who Kerwin Pittman is, he does have an organization, Recidivism.
It's called Rex. Brother Kerwin, can you?
It's called Reps.
Reps, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Reps.
But his whole thing is about social injustices, but also recidivism as well. And so he wants to make sure that he's helping people not go to jail.
Yep.
For several different reasons, but also helping those who may have went. But he also believes in having a high level of social responsibility.
Yes.
And tying right into that, I think that we have to start being more socially responsible.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's not a slant at anybody's independence or anybody's decisions. It's just like if I'm at Authors in Art, I just wait. I wait for everybody to leave, and we leave together to make sure things are all right. And yes, is Tara capable of handling her own? Yes. Is April? Yes. But if I'm there, what's wrong with me just staying to make sure they're okay?
Yeah.
Because I might be that one that changes her pattern, because somebody may be watching her pattern like, yep, every such and such day, she here by herself. She here by herself. But if they see us, they and protect them.
Yeah. No, I think that's definitely a major key. And all the functions and stuff that I have in my house, whenever whenever any lady leaves to go to her car, she's always escorted to her car by another guy. Whether she's either parked right out front or around the corner or wherever. Somebody, either myself or someone that's there, which pretty much they're usually all my friends or part of my family, they're escorted by somebody. And I like to establish that pattern just because it's safety in numbers and because it's awareness.
Yeah. If you see something, please say something. You can contact a manager if you are in a public place.
Mm-hmm.
You can also ask security to walk you to your car. Be vigilant about your safety.
Yes.
It is always better to be safe than sorry.
Yes.
And we do have to get out of the where I live, it couldn't happen to me.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because most wrecks happen within a near your home. Is it 6 mile? Is it 6
I thought
mile?
it was 5 miles.
It might be that. It's within a certain. It's a small window, meaning that where most things take place, and most times, most people who are the aggressor in any situation usually knows the person or have learned their pattern, which means that they have been close to them as well. And a lot of times it's not just random. So you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself and also protecting others by always. Like when Cordell leaves every Thursday, he need to let me know he made it home okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because something can happen while he's here, and just because he's a man, that doesn't mean that he's not targeted as well.
Right.
So we got to make sure that we're looking out for one another, period. Bring social responsibility back.
Yep. Social responsibilities, societal pressures. Man, we just opening the book up today.
What's going on? Jason T. Mahoney is on. What's going on? So we're right here at that 5-minute mark. That went by fast.
Yeah, dude.
So we'll have to hit the other topics next Thursday. So now it's time for Positive Brother Shout Out. I think now you're familiar with how we do it.
I am familiar with that.
Well, first of all, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me, guys.
You guys can't feel this. I don't know if you can feel it, but every time she comes, she does bring such an amazing energy. And me, I'm a person that has anxiety, but every time I'm around her, she like calms me. So I definitely appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you. And I enjoy talking with you guys.
Yeah, the purple is dope.
It's real royal today. Yeah.
You know, the funny thing is, it's my wife's favorite color.
Oh, cool.
So she might attack you as soon as this live is over.
Okay. So, give you a hug now. That's awesome.
She's like, take this black. But Positive Brother Shout Out.
Positive Brother Shout Out. I was thinking about this on the way. My little brother.
Okay.
My little brother is a...
Say his name.
Michael Lamar.
Michael Lamar. That's a dope name.
And he is a relatively new father. He's just doing big things for his family.
Congratulations.
And I just love what he's doing. So keep up the good work, little bro.
Oh, that's dope. Oh, you want the big man to go? The bigger one to go? So let the bigger one go.
Wow.
I definitely want to shout out. There's been a lot of great people that I have been meeting lately. Like even in my office building, they pick at me. They're like, you know everybody, because I say hey and I say good morning. And the elevator is a great place to meet new people.
Yeah.
But I met this new guy. He's actually a rapper, but like the conversations are super dope. His name is John Wilson. So definitely want to give John a shout out. My manager, I have a new manager. His name is Chris, an amazing manager and just an amazing person. I look at him as like he's an amazing father, in my opinion, from what I see. He's an amazing husband from what I see, and he's also an amazing leader. So I'm like, if he's this way here, it must be organic at home as well, because he doesn't appear to be faking any type of way. And it feels good to have managers that you just really like. And the owner of the company, I definitely want to give him a shout out too, because he's just dope. And I find myself now more and more, I'm being surrounded by amazing individuals, amazing males. Kerwin, he motivates me so much. Every time he's doing something in the community, I'm always thinking of ways of how can I do more. what can I do to impact our community more? He pushes me every time he does something. I definitely want to give Brian a shout out, Jason Mahoney a shout out. It's a lot of dope men that are doing a lot of amazing things. Felicia says, "Oh, April Lamar is an awesome person with great energy. Great show, everyone." Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, sis.
Yeah, she's dope.
And Coach says she can feel it. She said, "You are calming and balanced." And she felt it over there. Your chakras are moved through that.
Through the TV.
Through the TV. So, and definitely you, bro. Like, I love you. I appreciate you. Every time we have another conversation, I'm always blown away, not only by your growth, but your maturity, your insight on so many different things. And I just can't believe we're going into year 3 of doing this Love is a Parable thing. And I can't imagine my life without you in it. And I just thank you for everything that you do.
Yeah, bro, that means a lot to me. Well, first and foremost, I always start off with the brother Jay. One, because we're here doing this thing every week. And also, as I say to pretty much everyone I talk to about Jay, every time we have a conversation, Jay is pretty much dropping some gems on me. I learn a lot every time we talk. It don't matter if it's for 10 minutes. And when we talk, I always learn a lot. So, and again, like I said before at the anniversary, you've been a blessing to my life from day one. So, and I also cannot imagine where I'll be in my life right now without you. So definitely got to shout you out. Shout out all the brothers that are on the live. Kerwin, some of our newer brothers that came on. Sean Stewart. I mean, you've been on here before, but Sean, of course, Jason. And so Robert, what's going on, Robert? What's up, Robert, man? Corey Maxwell, shout out to him. Just all the brothers that come in and support us weekly, but also some of the newer brothers that are on the line. Also, I got to shout out to all the brothers that I've been catching up with who I haven't seen in a while. I'll be seeing Eric Hayes and James Hall. James is on here today, but I'll be seeing those brothers this weekend. So
Eric, how are you doing?
He's doing pretty good, but you know, he's doing his dad and he's working, so he's got a lot. He works overnight, so he's got a different schedule.
We love you, Eric.
Yeah, love you guys, man. So I'm gonna see those brothers this weekend. So I shout out to all those brothers that I'm connecting to after being away for a while, because I haven't seen some of those guys in a long time. So just shout out to all you guys. So pretty much.
Thank you, guys. And remember, guys, if you feel like you don't have anybody to talk to, you have us. If you feel like you, male or female, if you feel like that there's no one in this world that loves you, at least you know now there are at least 3 people that do love you, and they're looking at you right now. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at lovesaparable.com. We'll be sure to put April's information in the comment section, so that way you will have all of that. Make it a great night. We love you guys. Good night.
Good night.
See y'all next week.